technology is being very weird today.
Oh my God.
Oh, there we go. I'm
Some
having all kinds of weird problems with tech today.
I'll have conversations with people on the phone and the phone will just cut out
It's
or
been doing that to me as
over
well.
the really important parts that we need to talk about with like things that are happening and things that might happen and how we can make it better, dead air. And I'm like, "Oh my," and we'll do it again later, same thing. Same part. It's crazy.
All kinds of new challenges popping up. But that just means more time to be alive, you know? We feel more awakened and more refreshed, I think, after a
Yeah.
good
It's kind
solid
of like not letting these things bother you and you're just a duck and it just rolls off your back.
love that analogy, yes. Like
I'm
water
a
off a duck's
duck all
back.
day long.
Good morning, everyone. Remember, if you click comments there, you'll be able to see everybody commenting at the top there.
Good morning.
Hello. Hi, Leanne. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Kale. Hi, Margarita. Hi, Lori. Hi, Lindsay. Rise and shine, Michelle. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Raquel. Nice to see you, love. Good morning, Adriana. Nice to see you.
Aw.
Oh, what a sweet comment. Adriana says,
Thank
good
you,
morning. Lori is
Adriana.
awesome. She helped me so much. We just love you, Lori. It's so good to see you.
Aw. Making my morning.
I know, right? We get to work with pendulums today, I heard.
Sure. I love
Sweet.
working with the pendulum.
I got mine ready to go right here.
Do ya?
Yep.
What's
And
yours
I
look
did
like?
talk about it a little bit in class on Sunday, talking about pendulum use, because a lot of people, they don't realize psychic protection is needed, even with just using a pendulum. Anytime you even send anything or ask questions or tune into anything, yep, psychic protection is important.
It's kind of like opening the door to your house. Anybody could be walking by.
Yes.
Not necessarily somebody you know or somebody you like or somebody you even want in your house. It's just, oh, look, there's an open door over there. I think I'll pop in and see what's going on.
Yeah. And that happens
And
all the
and
time.
then there's also just these like energies kind of bouncing around going, "Oh, are those people in there sad? Well, that seems like dinner." And,
Yes,
just
ringing the
kind
dinner
of,
bell. Yes.
yeah, like ding, 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 and come on in and, let's feast. I mean, not like evil or anything else, just
They're
opportunistic.
opportunists, you know?
Yeah.
It's yeah, they're scavengers, so to speak. If they can smell it, they come running.
Yeah, but just, putting that protection, making that statement like, "Hey, only the highest and best." It's like you've got that little like what the dog collars have, the invisible fence,
Yeah.
but nobody can get in because you're like,
Like
"Oh
that.
crap, she put up the only highest and best. All right, I guess we'll keep walking on."
You know, you just gave me an idea with that whole invisible fence thing. So I like that. What a good idea to manifest around your property.
Well, that and I did a class on a star just the other day on creating sentinels, rock sentinels.
I missed
Uh,
that.
yeah,
Nice.
it's
I'll have to check
so
that out
cool.
today.
My friend taught me how to do it, and, basically, you can't just go out and grab any rock because these rocks need to do a job,
Yes.
and so you're kind of going out, you're being drawn to one or another, and then you're asking them, "Hey, you guys wanna be a sentinel, do this job?" And they're gonna say, "Well, yeah, no," or "No,
I
no,
haven't been doing anything
not
for
for
a few
me."
million years. Why not?
Yeah. Not all of them will say yes, but some will be really strong and almost like lead you to an area. And then, usually you pile them, and it can be like 3 or 4, but it's never what you think. And the ones that wanna work together are not always the ones that you think should go together. But once you put them all together, and I sprinkled mine with salt and activated them by saying, uh, I activate you to protect my home and property and everything inside, outside. And once you do that, my God, you look at these stones and these faces start popping out, and it's crazy. And then later on, you see them, and I'm like, no, I don't really see them anymore. They're just kind of sleeping. But anybody that comes to my house, let me tell you, they wake up.
Wow. Fascinating. What a good thing to have in front of the home too.
Yeah, I do it at every doorway.
Nice.
And so even if somebody has something attached to them, that kinda has to
Like, you
stay
get to wait
outside.
outside, sir.
Yeah, yeah, and so it's like a rubber band. So so those people can come in, but it's like a rubber band, and they don't stay too long because it's really uncomfortable for them to feel this, like, big stretching, like, the dark part's outside the door, and they're inside,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, where's my hat? I gotta go."
Interesting. So if you are, it's almost like awakening the spirit of your home too, because everything that we have around us comes from the earth in one way or another. We may transmute that energy into something else.
Yeah.
I have iron around my doors
Oh,
too.
totally. Yeah. I have, the, shungite on the
Nice.
4 corners, and some of those, organites that we made, I buried them in my yard.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice. Great idea. Because honestly, whenever you bury things in the ground, you are actually creating a grid around your house
Mhm.
too. Yes, brilliant. That actually helps with 5G towers too, because the 5G towers are emitting a lot. One of the main reasons that some of my clients have repeat problems, because they'll be like, I feel great for like a day or two, and then all of a sudden I'm noticing this other stuff it starts to feel that funky feeling again. So I go back and I'm like trying to find the underlying issue, like where are they coming from? Usually there's a tower nearby.
Yeah, because it disrupts your electromagnetic field,
Oh yeah.
and with that being disruptive, it's letting more things in. It just has to be distorted
Lowers
or
the vibration of the
yeah.
area around it. It messes with the free flowing energy from the ley lines. It also opened portals too. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it literally opens like hospitable zones that are low frequency for some of these beings to linger in, and then
Yeah.
when you're walking by unknowingly,
Because in the end, yes, we're living in this 3D reality, but we are energy. That's
yeah,
all we are. At our most basic component, we are energy. We're just kind of like some atoms zipping around.
yes,
So everything is energy, even though we say, well, some things are energy and some things are matter. Really, everything is energy.
yes, indeed. Well, if you guys are trying to combat those 5G towers, I don't recommend doing it in the daytime. You can get arrested burying things near towers, just for the record. Reinhard
Yeah,
said
don't do that.
you got to learn that the hard way, where you just don't want to do that. We have actually a couple people that follow our podcast that have gotten in trouble as well, trying to bury organite around 5G
Oh
towers.
my
I don't appreciate
goodness.
that. So make sure you guys are doing it stealthy if you decide to. But organite is extremely powerful, even for just a small little piece. Like I'm just showing like one of Michelle House made these cute little organites. You'd be surprised how much making a grid of these little guys will actually affect the frequency. But she
And
also makes organite pendants too.
nice.
Sorry, pendulums.
Nice. And
Yeah.
you know what? With burying things or setting up your sentinels, it's all about intention.
Yes.
It's the intention you put because then you're putting your energy into that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this is one of the reasons why it's important to feel the energy of your space. If you feel like there might be something compromising the energy of that space, probably a good reason to bring in some organite.
Yeah, clear it out.
Yep,
Get your
absolutely.
sage going.
So Kale says I have different bind runes and crystals buried at the corners of the property, the house, and the wolf habitat. It also takes on the approach of animism that I believe. Oh, nice. That there's
Wow.
a sentience in both natural and man-made objects, which is powerful. Very cool, Kale. Brilliant idea.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. And they've been talking about rock sentinels and golems for thousands of years. Wasn't this also mentioned in some of the ancient texts? I remember some of the old Jewish texts talking
I'm
about
not
these
sure.
things.
You know what's funny is I did a Google search just to see what was out there, what people said about it, and my God, I couldn't find anything.
Really, I'll have to send you some
Yeah.
links on this because yeah, there's spells actually in some of the old Judaic texts where they're talking about how to make your own golems.
No.
Yeah, and they're not always made out of rock, just for the record. You'd
Yeah.
be surprised that they can make golems out of these days. So ancient knowledge. So for people that are trying to commune with nature energy a bit deeper, like say trees, for example, would you have any recommendations of how to do that? How about going to connect with them?
Well, sure. I mean, the first thing you always do, just like you're going to meet any person, is you have that respect to go, oh, hi. I'm looking at the tree in my front yard right now. Hi. How are you? Can I talk to you? Can I kind of share some of your energy? Would that be all right? You always ask permission, and it's a form of respect. Otherwise, your intention
Mm,
is not coming across as something of sharing, of love. It's more like, hey, give me your energy.
mm.
I'm gonna hug this tree and then I'm gonna feel better. But what's the tree getting out of it? The tree wants a little something something
You're
too. you know
Yes, love that. This is one of the reasons why I feel many of these, for example, I was just talking with someone this morning about the power of roses. Roses are
Mm.
very high vibrational as well, as used for healing and connecting with the divine energy, etc. So if you're going to imbue some of this into your home, to bring in some of this powerful nature energy from outside the home into the home to help raise the vibration of the space, um, maybe there's a way of also creating indoor golems, so to speak, to kind of be protective.
You could, and with the rose example, I have one of the old-fashioned roses, so it is covered with thorns. So I always have a talk with it first, like, okay, we're gonna trim some stuff here. It'll make you grow healthier. Um, and I always ask permission first before I do anything
Yeah.
because then I'm going to get stuck.
Mm,
The other thing is, if I wanted to take some of that in and say, hey, I'm looking for this kind of a thing. Uh, could would some of your branches or flowers, would that be appropriate? And you're going to get your answer. All of a sudden, maybe your eye goes down to something else, another plant, another flower, another herb or something that's not necessarily what you thought, but that's what you need.
yes. It's very important to listen to your intuition in regards to
Yes.
these things. Yes. And there's also a lot of fae that connect with plants too. So you never know whose plant you might be messing with.
Absolutely. So I live in the house I grew up in. I went away for a while and then came back here after like 20 years. And this had been a rental. And in between this house and the next house, there was always this stone driveway for probably like, I don't know, 80 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want it to be a driveway anymore. I wanted to put a garden in there. And everybody's like, you can't grow a garden in there. That's been a driveway way too long, years upon years of stone pushing it all down. It's very rocky. And I'm like, no, no, that's where I'm putting the garden. And, so I went out and I explained to the fairies and the devas and whatever was there and just said, hey, this is what I want to do. And this is why. And I think it'll be a really great green space and it'll be a little wild because I can't have anything too structured and the garden's got to be a little wild. Um, and my goodness, the stuff I grow in there, it's out of control. And then I would just, try to plant things that I could just prove to myself that I could do. Like I planted peanuts and grew a whole bunch of peanuts. And everybody's like, you're growing peanuts in upstate New York with that tiny little, growing season. I'm like, well, why not?
Why not? I love that. That's brilliant. You never know until you try.
That's right.
Very cool. I love that you're growing peanuts in New York.
I
Unheard of.
did. I did until the squirrels said,
The
hey,
squirrels
are
are
you
like, "Oh
growing
my god!"
peanuts over there? Whoa, we want to dig that up. Thanks. Thanks for that.
Oh, but then think of how happy those squirrels probably
I
are.
know they're so stinking cute. That's what, I have peach and pear trees. I have a really little yard, but I have like so many fruit trees and
What?
everything.
Peach tree in New
And
York as well.
what's that?
I didn't know peaches could even grow in New York. I thought we were too
Well,
cold.
I get a lot when we don't it doesn't snow in May. you
Ah,
know. So if it
good to
doesn't
know.
snow in May, I'll get a whole bunch of peaches. Otherwise, I just get a few. But anyway, the squirrels, the groundhog. I've never seen a groundhog climb a tree to get peaches, and he's beautiful. He's got this sleek coat and everything. Living high on the hog with my peaches and pears and cherries, and
I love that you don't even mind the sharing your garden with them as well, because that's what
they're
nature
so
is all about.
cute.
You gotta share. I always, whenever I have a garden, I have one garden for me, and then I have another garden over towards the woods that I hope to bring all the others to. Like, that's
Yeah,
the rabbit garden. You can have that.
and I'll take like this fall I took pears, and I'm like, okay, the rest are for you guys. You know, go at it.
Yeah, love that. Judy says we had to take down a tree for safety. My husband talked to her, and the day it happened, she pulled back into the earth and it was done. We told the arborist where to cut based on where she wanted, and she's happy because all the wood is staying here for us. Love that.
Oh, love
Beautiful
it.
you're connecting with your trees like that, Judy. Love that. So when we are connecting with these nature spirits, if there is a way that we could ask, well, there's jobs that we can give them. Yes?
Sure. We
Asking
can
them to
just
protect
like,
my yard,
yeah, yeah.
take care of my plants, keep them alive for me. Because I'm constantly doing it to my house spirits as well. Because everybody, you have spirits in your house. Everybody does.
Hmm.
People think that you have fairies that only exist in the woods and the forest. No, they like to come into people's houses too.
That's
You'd
why
be
people are
surprised.
always talking about brownies and
Yes.
not the kind you eat, the chocolate deliciousness,
Yes, the other
but
kind.
you know, like little helper spirits, you know, brownies and elves and stuff that were like, who tidied that up for me?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they are very well connected to not only to the animals and the plants, but just the Gaia itself. You know, when you're connecting with nature, these beings that are around us at all times that we're not aware of, they are the caretakers of nature. They are there to kind of make sure that all the needs of nature are being met, which is really lovely.
Rachel says, "Is that who's been drinking my coffee?" They like it, especially if you leave out a little sweet something. You know that's going to be gone.
Love that. Don't they like honey as well? They like honey and other
Yeah.
little things.
Honey,
Yes.
I'll sometimes take little containers or little bottle caps or something, put a little honey and some seeds or something in there, going, "Hey, I got you a little something, something," you know.
Somebody gave me a bottle of mead the other day. Maybe I'll dump a little can full of
Ooh,
mead for them. I bet you they'd love
my
that.
God, you'd make the gnomes happy.
I imagine so, yeah. So this is how you can strengthen the health of your garden as well, just by leaving little gifts, making little tokens of your appreciation.
And just going out there and communicating,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what it's all about.
It's flickering now
It's
that I said that. My house spirits are like, hey.
I see it. I see that. Like, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital one time, and you know, I'm in this room and the lights kept just turning off. And then they turn back on later and turn off. And I'm like, well, it must be like motion detector lights, you know, where motion
Yeah.
lights where you ever go in those bathrooms, and if you're in a bathroom too long, like all the lights go out,
Yes,
and
love
you're
those.
gonna try to like um but they kept going out in my room, and so I finally said to the nurse, I'm like, okay, are the lights in here motion sensor? She goes, no. I'm like, well, okay, all right,
So
well,
somebody was
okay,
messing with you turning
thanks
off the light.
thanks for trying to get my attention, appreciate you. I'm pretty sure it was my mom just trying to say it's okay, I'm here with you. And my TV would go on in the middle of the night, and just all kinds of
That
crazy
might
stuff.
actually be an earthbound. I don't know.
Well, I think it was because I was pretty much by myself, and I had this surgery that I was like terrified about. And so I think they were just kind of in there going, "Hey, we're here with you." I'm like, "Okay, I feel better now."
Mhm. Jessica says, I think they've hidden my lapis lazuli because I got the pig to grab it from my bedside this morning and it's gone.
Apparently you didn't need it anymore.
Sometimes crystals do. They take a walk. And I always
They
joke, like,
do.
my Moldavite likes to walk the most. And I'm like,
Oh, I bet.
it's probably in 5D right now. I have to wait for it to be lowered back to
Yeah,
3D.
yeah.
Raise its
When the time
vibration
when
to
it
5D.
feels like it.
Yeah, because sometimes things go for a walk, and so fairies and other they like them. They'll take things that are pretty or shiny or have some significance to try and mess with you a little bit.
Michelle said she finally got her vape back from the Fae.
I bet they loved that, Michelle.
there was that little pre-Halloween party.
That is too funny. Mira says sliders do that too. I blink lights and mess up electronics more so when nervous or excited or upset. Yes, definitely true. Yep. Oh, that's funny. Michelle says it was empty. I bet it was. That's hilarious.
Some cartridges missing.
Yeah, you just never know when things go missing as to where or when you find things too.
Yeah.
Because they're like crows. They will take things but leave presents as well.
Yeah.
So if you find something, I found the weirdest thing, right? I told these guys about it a little bit ago. So I was taking a nap and I wasn't feeling very well. It was like a 4-hour midday nap because I was sick. And I woke up and I stepped out of my bedroom and there was a spoon on the ground. Just chilling. A little spoon.
Wow.
The tiniest little spoon I've ever seen in my life. It was like for a dollhouse or something. It was like the tiniest spoon I've ever seen.
So weird.
It was big. And I was like, what is going on? Like, where is this? And I said something to my guides, just hoping for normal answer. Like, oh, Aiden dropped it, And they're like, no, it's from another dimension.
Just
kind
of
like, oh, why? And they were like, normally things fall through other dimensions all the time, but you just don't realize it. But this time you did. They said 99 times out of 100, things are going to be dropped in or left there or placed somewhere. And you'll be like, where the hell did this come from? What the? Mm-hmm. 2 guesses.
I keep getting distracted because there's this little wren that just keeps coming to my window and looking in and flying all around and knowing that we're talking about nature.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a little spirit messenger there. Whenever I see what do they call it? A cardinal, for example, I always think of Dolores.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm looking at this one. Oh, it's a long one.
Gotta love the little wrens. They're so cute.
Aww.
David said I had a rather strange thing happen over the weekend. My hot water heater went out, so I replaced it. And then when I did, I tightened the hot and cold connections on top of it very tightly. After I installed it, I came back 30 minutes later to make sure there was no water leaking anywhere. And the water connections that I had tightened very tightly had loosened up, and I could turn them with my finger.
Wow.
So I tightened them all up again, even tighter than I did the first time with a big wrench. That's funny, David, because I feel that sometimes they can mess with us with those things.
Look, and I see a smiley face in the wall. Yeah, that's a brownie right there. They're helpful, not helpful,
Yeah, the brownies are especially cheeky. So are the gnomes.
I love the gnomes.
They're so cute. We saw some in France, actually. We had quite a lot of them.
Did you?
Yeah, we were staying in a very remote village on top of a hill in the middle of nowhere, and the gnomes were everywhere. In fact, one of us even saw one jumping from a tree, like literally just into a bush. She's like, what the hell was that? She's like, it looked like a little person that was only 2 foot tall. And I'm like,
yeah, you start questioning, what did I just see?
It's like, I don't think that there's any normal people that are like 1.5 feet tall. Nope.
Yeah. Like, what else is it really going to be?
Exactly.
Wrens are symbols of joy, hope, and renewal.
Perfect message for now with all of what's been going on lately.
Yeah, boy, everybody's just like at that precipice of, we're trying to plan or what's going to happen. And it's all like, hey, guess what? Y'all just got to let it go and go with the flow, which is, I'm trying not to get stressed out with that because I like my plan. And then I have plan B and C and D. But it's like, yeah, those are all going out the window.
Nice.
You got to just like, hey, take each day, live each moment. What kind of joy can you bring in today? And you do what you can.
I'm going to totally get that book you guys are talking about in the comments. I'm writing it down right now. Good Fairies, Bad Fairies. Thank you.
Oh, yeah? Oh, awesome.
Is that a good book? Have you read that one?
I have not.
Good Fairies, Bad Fairies by Brian Froud. Is that the name? Yeah, Froud.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, I love Brian Froud. He has a whole bunch of like fairy books.
Ooh,
Um, he
nice.
does some really cool drawings, I think, with his wife. Amazing.
Nice one. Thank you for sharing that. I totally am always looking for new books to get. And I love the elemental books, especially because there are so many elementals out there. I mean, for every animal that you can think of, there is an astral counterpart and then some. But
Hmm.
then you also have all of these elementals that exist that are so beyond what animals are that it's almost unfathomable that they exist. Like some of the sliths, for example, that exist in the sky. You know, you have like these air beings that exist that
Mm-hmm.
control the weather. And sometimes when you feel like a big gust of wind that hits you out of nowhere and you're just like, whoa, what was that? You know, that is
Or
actually could have been a being, not just a
yeah,
gust of wind.
or I'll be looking outside and there's not any air, and one tree is like going crazy as if like there's this huge wind blowing it. And I'm like,
Hmm.
where is that coming from?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and to be honest, like, most of them are they don't just stay out in nature, they come into houses too, they mess yeah, they go wherever the hell they
They
please,
do
really.
whatever they want.
So, yeah, it's really interesting, and I feel like that's one of the subjects that you could literally spend the rest of your life researching and not get to know all of them because there's just so many.
Hmm.
Yep, gotta love it. So let's cover a little bit about pendulums, shall we?
Sure.
So
Sure,
I
sure,
have
sure.
different kinds here. One of my favorite ways to wear pendulums is how I'm wearing it today. Because if you have a pendulum around your neck and you're wearing it all the time, it's been imbued with your energy, and
Mhm.
therefore it's almost more sensitive to you and your requests and the things that you're asking. So, what type of pendulum do you typically use when you're doing your work?
So I have tons. I have some that are organite. I have some that are crystals. And so whatever I'm going to do, so if I'm going to work with somebody in particular, or I just want to do something myself, I have to ask them, like, who wants to do this? Who would like to work? I'll grab one. It's like, nope, not me. So I need to have the right
Who's the
one.
chosen one for the day?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And so like today, I don't know if you can see it, my amethyst
Nice.
right
Oh, that's
here.
a beautiful one.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
It is so pretty. Love that.
Um, and so that just wanted to come out and be with us today. Um, and you just have to find that energy, and yes, imbuing with your energy and also clearing them is
Yes,
like,
giving them a smudge. That's a really
ooh,
good
a
idea.
smudge, or I keep mine with selenite. Let's see.
I keep mine in my little selenite bowl here, as you can
Yep,
see.
yep.
In
I
there.
got my
Yeah.
selenite right here. So I always have that with them. And then I also, before I start working with them, I always clear and call in, the highest vibrations, and download, only the highest energies, before I ever start. Oh, I
Yes.
can feel that smudging over here.
It works, eh?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you just smudge around the crystal. You can also use essential oils too. I've noticed that rose oil on rose quartz cleanses it really well and keeps the
Mhm.
vibration kind of high.
Yeah, you just have to be careful because essential oils are so strong that they actually, over time, could start disintegrating the crystal a little bit.
Really?
Some crystals,
I didn't
some
know that.
crystals
Well,
that are
some of that I can
softer.
understand, definitely. So, when you have a pendulum that you're just new to using, for example, I'll pretend this is a brand new pendulum. You
Mhm.
dedicate it like you would any other crystal, yes?
Yeah, and kind of introduce yourself, and hey, uh I'm going to be working with you. This is what I want to do. And hey, we're going to be working together, because this is going to be, it's not like this whole separate thing. This is an extension of you, because and this is really one of the reasons I use it. I'm not trusting that voice I hear. I'm like, I need a voicier voice, a signier sign. I'm
Yes.
looking for something like, and so when my pendulum starts going and I'm like, oh, no, it's saying no. Um, it's that extension of me that I can trust,
Yes.
and you create that relationship.
Yep. And a lot of people wonder, like, is it the same as using a Ouija board? No, it's not, because you're not looking to connect with an outside source. However, it still needs to have protection because, funnily enough, as Leanne just said, mine is sitting between two crystals because it told me it's not of the highest light.
Well, and
You can be
when I
compromised as anything can be.
yeah, exactly. And when I work with people, because I'm tuning into their energy, um, that's where it is kind of going into, it's like a little go between.
Yes.
But it's sitting in this highest light, um, as it accesses that energy. And my goodness, sometimes I'm working with the pendulum and it's heavy as anything. All of a sudden, it's like a 10-pound pendulum. And I'm like, wow, this energy is insanity. Um, and I found that, sometimes it'll give you really strong yeses, and sometimes it'll be like, that's okay. You
That's when I know
can,
I'm not asking correctly. It's like, nope, you need to clarify your question, or
yeah.
you're not asking the right way, or you're not asking the right question.
Or sometimes people will like, a lot of people will have me test their supplements, and the supplement is neither good nor bad for them, and so to go, meh,
Eh.
you know,
I love that.
you could.
My guides are constantly telling me to check things with a pendulum. Constantly. They're like, is this sandwich good for me? No. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay. Is this supplement good? Well, yeah,
I
exactly.
know. I had gotten the message probably last year. Don't eat any grains, carbohydrates, or sugars, and I'm like, well, that must be a
There goes my diet.
mistake, because maybe they just meant sugars, not like every carbohydrate. And
You
nope,
gotta be more
no,
clear about the sugars. White sugars, honey,
all of them,
all
all
the sugars.
of them,
Oh
all of
no,
them.
it's
For
terrible.
me, not for everybody, but when I was doing mine, like what's best for my body right now, I had to cut out everything,
Mm. I'm in that same boat
everything.
right now. Yep. The pendulum is also giving me a lot of shit. I can't even eat eggs. I asked the pendulum,
Oh,
I was like, should I eat eggs? They're like, no. I was like, shit.
and sometimes it's what's in there. It's like your body doesn't need it. It could be like the sulfur or something that's in there, that your body is like, nope, you need this. This would be much better for you.
Yes.
But we always like, do I really want to? Somebody said explain pendulums. I
I was
mean,
just gonna say,
pendulums are, if you've ever heard of muscle testing, um,
yeah, your body
applied
is a pendulum. Yeah, it can be.
applied kinesiology.
So what happens is your energy travels down your arm
Mhm,
into the subtle muscles of your hands and moves down into the pendulum. So you can ask. I always brace my elbow on something when I'm holding it up,
mhm.
and you could say something like, "Are you from the highest of light and serving the highest good of humanity?" Yes. That is always a good question to start with to make sure that your pendulum is sovereign and there's nothing attached to it. Then you can ask a validating question. You say, "Is my name Laura?" And it'll say yes. And then you can ask a question you know is going to be a no. You say, "Is my father's name Bob?" No, my father's name is not Bob.
And that's also good to kind of establish what's a yes for you and what's a
Mhm.
no. And also, so many people that watch me do the pendulum, I don't need to wait for it to do this big shift from going this way to this way. I just have to feel that subtle energy change, and I'm like, all right, it's a no.
Yeah. Yep. So you can get really clever, creative with your questions. And there's a lot of validation that comes from using these too. So if you're unsure about something, like say something like, should I be eating sugar? No. You see it switch immediately?
And see, a better question would be, is sugar what's highest and best for my body right now?
Is sugar what's highest and best for my body right now? No.
Yeah.
It's like, you already
Yeah.
know the answer to this.
No.
And a couple times people have asked me, they're like, "Does your pendulum just tell you what you want to hear?" No, it doesn't. In fact,
It
it tells me the
can.
opposite quite
It
often.
can though.
Yes.
It can. So that's where you have to take out your any bias of what you really
Mhm.
want. Because if I'm
Yes.
like, come on, ice cream. Come on, ice cream. I want ice cream. Yes. And it'll go, all right, she really wants it. Yes. But so I
Yes.
have to take that bias out of there of really expecting an answer and be more surprised, like, "Oh, I can't have ice cream. What a shocker."
Yes.
Um, I'm just trying
I
to
love
read
how
some
the
of
old
these.
school pendulums, people used to use just a string and a penny.
Yeah, anything.
Or as Andrea was just saying, women used to hold a needle on a cotton string over their hand to tell what children they'll have. It never failed.
Mhm.
So
But
it
you
doesn't
have
have to
to
be some fancy crystal. You could use just a little chunk of something.
yeah, but with the whole, like, that baby thing is you can't be attached to the answer. That's
Yes.
where you have to let it go.
Absolutely. So that's really neat. Now, do you know what kind of stone or crystal? So really it depends on what resonates most with you because different ones, like let's see, this is a rose quartz pendulum. This is a copy of the Osiris pendulum that they had in Egypt. So
Ooh.
this is what we call the Osiris pendulum, and it's made out of bronze.
I have a, black tourmaline.
Nice. Black tourmaline's very good.
But also, I've had people that use like their grandmother's old necklace because
Yeah,
it had such a special meaning. And what comes along with that is your grandmother's energy who's
yeah.
helping you along.
Love that. Beautiful. And you can also use something like this. Like I have my little pendant that I use, and I use
Yes.
this for years. It's just a little piece of moldavite, but I'll just take it off like I did the rose quartz pendulum and use it as needed, and it works. It doesn't always have to be focused. In fact, one of these also works. This is a piece, it's just a cage with a crystal inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Anything.
works too. Worked
It
great for
doesn't
me,
it doesn't
actually.
have to be a crystal. It just has to be something that you resonate with.
This is organite. Michelle made this really cool piece, actually. Check that out.
That's nice.
Isn't it though? It's got lapis
That's
lazuli and copper
beautiful.
and quartz in there. Love it. It's got a bit of selenite in there. It's very well made, Michelle. So
I love the office supplies with paper clips and a binder clip. Hey, whatever works because it's your energy coming through there. It's kind of like, oh, finally we can get some communication going. And you're
one
getting
person used a broom from Walmart hanging on a string. That's hilarious.
were you in
Wow.
Walmart at the time?
But pendulums are not expensive. I mean, you can find them on Etsy for like $5. Like they're cheap,
Hmm.
cheap. Pendulums are very cheap. So if there's a certain type of crystal you have, like let's say amethyst is your birthstone, then just go with something like that for your first pendulum to but I also recommend good old fashioned quartz. A lot of people think
Yeah.
that quartz is kind of like, it's not that pretty, not too flashy, but quartz is phenomenal for pendulums, especially smoky quartz too. I had a smoky quartz pendulum for years. I loved that thing.
And it actually amplifies your own energy.
Yeah.
So it's just giving you that boost.
Yep. Love it. So one of the things that you could also do with the pendulum, we use them in Reiki to find blockages within the body. So if somebody is
Hmm.
lying down, you take the pendulum and you sweep it across the body and you ask how each chakra is flowing because that's how I used it in Reiki anyway. You hold it above the chakra, let's say the throat chakra, and somebody's laying down, and you can ask the pendulum to show you how the chakra is moving.
Hmm.
And if the pendulum is moving very slowly, then obviously there's something with the chakra that needs to be either cleansed, blockages need to be removed, something needs to kind of revitalize that energy source. So you can actually do clearings with the pendulum too.
Absolutely. And a couple things I was going to mention. So recently, my husband and I worked together for a lost dog, and we were trying to pinpoint where this dog was.
Did you use a
And
map? Did you?
so I brought up my Google Maps and I
Cool.
used my pendulum and I'm like, okay. And I just felt where it was pulling me. I'm like, okay, over here. And then I'd zoom in over there and just kind of got the area. And that is where the dog was found. But the other thing I was going to say is you can easily make, let's see if you can see this, like a little chart like this.
Ooh, actually, I have one of those. Where is that?
And when you do this, like a lot of times when I'm doing yes or no questions, I kind of move my string part, my chain, really short. So I don't have to have a really long swing. But when I'm doing the charts, I let it do a really long swing and see where it's drawn to. And I had another client, I'll see if you can see this, had me make this for him. He has tinnitus
Oh,
and he wanted to see, what was causing it. And what we came up with, it was
genius.
actually caused by hypersensitivity and it was increased by caffeine and what was the other thing? His sleep cycle,
Yes, it's
which
like
was not what I expected. But yeah, you can make a chart for
there's
anything.
all kinds of really cool ones. Like they even have charts like this for pendulum use.
Yeah, I find the ones that are very busy harder to read. I like a lot more space because then I'm sure, okay, that's where it's going
Yes,
to,
you
that
want
area.
yes, love that. Oh yes, Kitesh made some starseed pendulum grids on Canva. Nice one. I didn't even see that. Cool. I'll have to check that out. So there's a lot that are used for scrying, for divination, for all kinds of things. What is a unique way that a lot of people don't think of using a pendulum?
Um, so you can use pendulum for what foods are best for you.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Something you don't think about. Let's say you're really stressed out. Your boss sent you this really stressful email, and you go typing it back, and you're like, okay, should I send this right now? Is that in my best interest? Asking questions like that kind of make you just take
Yeah.
that little stop for a minute and think instead of send. That'll show him.
One of the things
Uh,
I've been studying different types of spirit release therapy, and I've also noticed there's a lot of people that practice spirit release therapy with a pendulum too, where they're doing clearings with a pendulum also, which I found really interesting.
Interesting.
I know, right? That's how a lot
See,
of people do it that
I
way.
use my pendulum to kind of identify, and then I use my magnet sheet to do my releasing. And
Hmm.
I release through the governing meridian of the body that runs from your upper lip up and over your head to your tailbone. So I'm just using that magnet sheet, releasing, whatever it is. I kind of identify it by bringing it to the surface and then release with the magnet sheet. I find that my intention of
Amazing.
pulling that out.
So I wonder if there's different ways, because one of the things that I've also noticed is that people use it with the Akashic records too,
Hmm.
when they're tuning into the records and to validate questions within the records.
I mean, really, you can use it for anything,
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just so versatile.
and it's all about your questions. Like the more precise your questions are, because if I ask something like, well, can I do this? Well, yeah, you can.
Mm.
Is this what's best for me right now? Will this, move me forward for my purpose? Because you're going to get like, oh, well, yeah, you can. You can do
You
whatever you
raised
want.
some eyebrows with the whole magnet sheet thing. Do you mind explaining a little bit more about it?
My magnet sheet, I love my magnet sheet. And this is Nikken, Nikken. They make all kinds of sheets like this. It's not very expensive. They have all kinds of medical magnets. And with learning the body code, belief code, all that, um, our intention is that we bring everything to the surface. And if we're acting like a proxy, it's at our surface. And then we can either use our hand or a magnet sheet. I love my magnet sheet, so I use that all the time. And then we're just with that intention of it's all kind of gone into that governing meridian, all ready to be released, and we're pulling it out, up and out.
Nice. Love that.
I don't know Brenda. Do you know Brenda?
No, don't know many Brendas. Medicine Woman Solution. No, never heard of it. You'll have to
And
tell us about that, Erin.
the magnet sheet, your intention is that magnet sheet is a magnet, and its magnetic energy is pulling out whatever you have identified and brought to the
Oh,
surface, whether that be a trapped emotion, whether that be some kind of imbalance, or even if you're trying to reset something, like you're resetting the actual physical heart. So you're pulling out whatever imbalances you can to reset the organ or whatever it is that you're working on.
fascinating. Whenever the soul guides come in to clear implants, that's mostly what they use. They use giant astral magnets.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just pull them out. They don't
Yeah.
go through and do like little bit of psychic surgery. They're like,
Yeah.
you
Let's
know?
just like a big vacuum, you
Yeah,
know?
they use a giant. In fact, I laughed. One of the mediums was like, they literally busted out like an old school.
And
The
yes,
little red nubbies on the bottom of the magnet.
the person that said you can use a normal magnet from the fridge, 100%. It's all in your intention.
That is so cool.
So if your intention is, my pizza magnet, then that's working. If it's your hand, I'm imagining my hand is like, whoo, it's pulling it out. And just doing this, I'm getting chills over here.
Pendants from Marguerite last week. It was like this. It has magnets in the pendant.
Oh,
I know, right? It has magnets and hematite and a whole bunch of other stuff in there. There's like 14 little crystals inside the pendant. And I was like,
wow.
oh, sweet. And there, I was wondering why they would have magnets in there, but now I know. Cool.
Yeah. Just pulling that out.
All that stuff. Very cool. Love that. I'm gonna have to use that trick. Actually, I appreciate you for sharing the name of that. It was Nikken or something. Nikken?
Correct. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Raquel says somebody did a reading for me once, checking the health of each chakra using a pendulum to communicate with a guide to get the info. It was so full of detail through the chakras, highlighting where the wounding and health in the chakra came from and from past lives, etc. Quite amazing. That's what I'm getting into, Michelle. Actually, Raquel, I've actually been practicing that a little bit. That's something that I'm trying to get into more, so I don't always need somebody else to assist me with pulling things out and clearing.
And then it's all in your questions.
Yes.
When I ask questions, when I do like the food codes with people and I ask about blocks, I'll say, are there any blocks to healthy eating? And then I'll say, is there any resistance to healthy eating? And then I'll say, is there any past imbalances or trauma that are causing healthy eating not to go forward? You're just asking it in a whole lot of ways, because maybe there's not a block, maybe it's just resistance.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of resistance happens subconsciously. We say we want something, but then it's almost like you're pushing and pulling on the door at the same time, trying, you know what I mean? Like it's not moving, and you're like, why? Yeah, that's generally why.
Yeah, and so many people are like, but I want that. It's kind of like one of my guilty pleasures is watching My 600-Pound Life. And I'm like, man, if I could get in there and do some body codes on these people, it would be so much better. But anyway, so much
life trauma there too.
Yeah, it's the trauma. And also they're like, well, but if I move, it'll hurt. If I don't eat this much, I might starve. I mean, and that is like deep in their head that, I'm
Almost
like
every
starved.
person that has been dealing with clinical obesity that I've done a clearing on, it's past life related. There was one person that literally starved to death in a past life, and they're afraid of it happening in
Yeah,
this life, and they hold on to that energy. And even as they're trying so hard to lose weight, it wouldn't shed because they're holding on to that fear.
yeah. Because that's imbued in every part of their body. Every
Yeah.
cell of their body is like, oh, no, no, no.
Meanwhile, they're exercising, they're eating healthy, and it's still not losing. And they're like, "What's going on?" And then we go under hypnosis, or not under hypnosis. We go to the clearing, and sure enough, they tell us,
Yeah,
"Yeah, it's the past life trauma."
yeah. But then you start asking those questions. Okay, would this be the next best step?
Yeah.
What is it? Is it changing the food? Is it releasing, trapped emotions? Is it releasing that old inherited trauma from another life? Is it food choices? What's your next best step? And you can ask your pendulum that.
Mm. I have actually asked a little bit about my weight as well because I've always been trying. It's in the middle. But I was like,
Mm,
"Why is it holding on to that space?" And they were like, "Because that's where you block energy from that space."
right. So
I'm like,
if
"Oh,
you then tell
like a
your
barrier."
body that, well, I have other ways of blocking that energy. I don't
Mhm.
need that anymore. Like talking about your gatekeeper or something, getting them in there. Um, did you do that meditation with Jono, the gatekeeper one?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Amazing.
I have a 7-foot giant with blue eyes.
I have this crazy Scottish guy named Angus
Do you
who's like 8 feet tall.
want an
He's like
Angus for a gatekeeper?
nuts. He's
It's
nuts.
goats love
And
them.
he loves to fight people. I mean, uh, when I'm doing the meditation, so the meditation has you're looking out over all of your ancestors, and I'm like, oh my God, who the heck is that dude? I see this guy, he's like heads and shoulders, and they're like, and your gatekeeper's going to come forward, and this guy starts striding towards me, and they're like, oh, and he's going to, stop here. He didn't stop. He went right in, pulled up a chair. Suddenly I had like a tankard of ale in my hand, and oh, it was crazy. And
Do
I'm like,
you, when you get angry, you don't bust out a Scottish accent, do you? Fucking great.
great. And it was the funniest thing was in this meditation, he kept going, he'd like slam his fist down and go, the bastards, you know.
Oh, that warms my heart. I love the Scots. They're my favorite. That's so funny. So this is really cool because I feel like a lot of us are connecting more with our guides, and one of the ways you can do that is through validation through your pendulum. You
Hmm.
can call them in and be like, "Okay, is Angus here now?" And it'll say yes, and you say, "Okay, Angus, I would like to ask you a question. Is there blah blah blah." Yes,
See how fast it's going? Of course he's here.
he's like,
He's here,
"Duh,"
and then I'm getting like really hot because he's
because we're
he's a little
talking about him.
close.
Hi, Angus. How you doing? Like,
He just
I
gives
love
you
it.
this. He gives you this. He's got like the arms crossed going, you know, that little like chin nod thing.
Oh, I love that.
But it's funny, like the more you do things, the more you tap in and connect with your higher guides, your higher selves, your counsel, whatever you want to call it, the more communication you get.
Yes.
And it's not just when, oh, I think I will sit down and do this. You're getting that communication like as a constant stream. It's like a freeway.
Oh, don't even get me started. I've been having quite a rapport with mine least recently. His name is Charlie. And yeah, Charlie is the reason I bust out a British accent, everybody, just so you know. He's the reason. He's
Ah,
also the reason I was goaded into starting this podcast because he just harassed me all night long, like, you need to start a podcast. So it's funny how much they're kind of driving us from the back seat, even though we don't even know they're back there at first.
and what's the funnier thing is they're all parts of us.
Mm-hmm.
We're just that tiny spark, trying this little meat suit out, and they're all parts of us, and we're thinking, oh my God, they're so amazing. They know everything. Well, it's us. We know everything. We put all this fog of belief around us that stops us from, connecting into who we really are.
Yeah.
But then it wouldn't be such an experience if we knew everything. If we knew all the test answers, it wouldn't feel like such an accomplishment when we get that 100.
You're saying this is perfectly timed because I've been having a little bit of a spat with my higher self the last week because I'm like, I'm ready now. And they're like, no, you're not. And I'm like, yes, I am. I'm ready. And they're like, no, you're not.
And then you know what they do is they bring you something you don't actually want
Mm.
to say, "Oh, you said you're ready? Here you go. What do you think about this?
What are you
How
gonna
are
do
you
with
going to react?" And it's like, "Well, I didn't want that. Like, where's my like abundance? Where's my like woo superstar? No, they
Mhm.
bring me some like challenge. Great. How are you going to deal with it this time?"
Mhm. Well, that's the best part, I think, that many of us are kind of our higher selves are leaving breadcrumbs, so to speak. It's your job to find the breadcrumbs. If you're paying attention, you'll find the signs and the path you're meant to follow. But if you're just kind of willy-nilly, like, just kind of going with the flow, you never know where you might end up because this is, free will is a very important role that you
Oh
have.
yeah. I feel like a lot of my spirit guides for so many years must have like a big red spot on their head from the forehead slaps they just did. Like, oh my God, what
Oh,
is
I'm
she
sure
doing
mine did
now?
too. Yeah, they had to literally pull me out of body. I'll never forget the conversation. They basically were like, I said, "Why did you pull me out of body for this?" And they said, "Because you weren't listening. You were stubborn. We were trying to get your attention and it just wasn't happening." So they literally had to pull my stubborn ass out of body just to have a conversation face to face because I wasn't getting the signs. It was just going
Mhm.
whoop, right over my head.
Or yeah, I got lots of signs, and I was like, well, but maybe if I had a signier sign,
I get
like
those tinier signs.
give me
It
like
used to be neon
another
flashing.
100 signs, and I'd see it a whole bunch, and I'm like, well, but really, is it really?
Well, that's the fun part about this is we're all just kind of winging it as we go. Who knows where we're going to actually end up through this? I don't even think the guides know. A lot of them are just like, we'll see.
Yeah.
Like they don't know either.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, buckle up. We're in for a ride. Either way, whatever happens."
One told me, was it 2 days ago? Hold on to your pants, Lara.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
Well, I keep asking, "Is there more I should do?" And they're like, "Whatever." And I'm like, "Should I be doing it?" And like, "Do whatever you want." I'm like,
We need
so
answers.
where are my answers? Yeah,
Oh,
at
you
least
guys
we're
so much
taking this
fun.
ride together. We are. And in the end, that's what it's all about. It's not all about like, did I prepare enough? It's like, how can we all come together? And when something happens and we're all kind of forced to come together, and then you see, people's true colors, because people can be so caught up in their job and their stress and their bills, and should their kids be going to 15 sports or whatever it is, and then when real stuff happens, that's when you really see who people are. You really see that genuine, like, I'm helping.
Indeed. I feel like there's going to be all kinds of revelations coming. So perhaps, connecting to our soul guides, making sure that we're grounded, working with our pendulums, working with our cards, connecting with our soul guides. I feel like in our higher self
Hmm.
is really the best homework you can have right now. Just having little moments to yourself where you can practice these things and strengthen your connection to your
Yeah,
intuition.
and just go forward in whatever's highest and best. If you can just constantly ask yourself, is this for my highest and best? It may not be the most comfortable, it may be super uncomfortable, but in the end, it's feels really good.
It
But
certainly
getting
does.
there is not very fun because it's not doing that nice little smooth track that I have planned out on paper.
Are you hearing that weird noise? Anybody else hearing that?
I do not hear it.
It was a weird noise. I swear, maybe there's an elemental on the line here that just keeps making like these weird little
Uh,
noises. It's very weird.
I
It
would
just
say that's a
started
yes.
happening.
Just wanted to join in on the conversation and the energy and the high energy, and yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's very weird. It sounds like a pen clicking. Yeah, it's like this little noise.
See, I thought that was out in my room somewhere.
No. There's something messing with us right now. That's really funny.
See, it stopped as soon as you mentioned it because it just wanted an
We're on to
acknowledgement.
you. Yes. We've got a mouse on the line.
Thanks for
You know what's
joining
funny?
us.
I actually found a mouse elemental in the house, and I found a mouse soul guide once as well.
Wow.
I know, right? A mouse soul guide.
Well, why not?
I was astonished.
Why not?
They're like, "Oh, there's a little mouse soul guide in the house," and I was like,
And why wouldn't they? Like,
"They have their own soul guide."
yeah,
Apparently,
because they're just that little piece of them, and the whole rest
yeah,
is, hanging out with us.
very strange. So maybe the mouse soul guide is on the call right now. That's what he's typing. I was not typing. No, I have not been typing. Hands are here. It's not me.
Yeah.
It's still doing it. Very weird. Okay, well, anyway, it was fun hanging out with you today. What a bunch of laughs. I love it.
That's
You're so much fun,
awesome.
Lori.
Thanks. You are too.
Let's promote your Soul Stroll before you go. Tell us a little bit about Soul Stroll.
So,
Find the
Soul
link.
Stroll, I am a body, belief, emotion code, food code practitioner. Also, Soul Speak, which is listening to the messages of your body. And my husband's also on there as an animal communicator. And we just started working together. And just it just happened accidentally. That's people looking for lost pets, and we started working together with that, and that's been really fun and really interesting.
Love it.
And also, for anybody listening, I do have a promotion for the month of November, from now until the end of November. If you type in the coupon code November 25, and that will give you 25% off any of the services.
Nice. Cool. And what's some of your services, just so people can to know what to look forward to?
So, like I said, body, belief, emotion code.
Mhm. What is
So,
that?
that is where I identify, decode, and release any trapped emotions, imbalances in the body, any resets. I know we're going to go soon, but here's an interesting thing. Right now, I'm working with somebody that's running for a state seat. And so this person has me checking them with the body code and with like entity bad energy checks several
Nice.
times a day from now
Wonderful.
until the election.
Yes.
And so I'm pulling stuff like, man, I was like, wow, this is actually harder than I thought.
Wow, that's fantastic. Love that. And as Adriana says, and I'm going to highlight it, highly recommended.
Aw.
Yes, everybody that works with you, Lori, has said nothing but wonderful things, and it's been really transformative to them. And I loved hanging out with you. I must say, hanging out, making organite at Daniela's house was
I
good
know,
fun.
that
We
was
got to
so
plan
much
another
fun.
little organite party at Daniela's again. That was
I
great.
know. When you like had that drill blender in there, I'm like, she is Danger
I
Woman.
don't fuck around. You guys noticed. Love it. Well, it's good fun, and I really am excited. Do you ever have any classes on pendulum use or anything like
I
that?
do on Astara in the membership. I'm doing a Pendulum 101 this Friday. So if you're on Astara, we're going to talk all about the pendulum and go into more depth of how we can use it and questions you can ask, and
Perfect.
just everything you wanted to know about pendulums.
And this will be on what day?
It's on November the 1st,
November 1st. Perfect. So
which
that'll
is
be
Friday,
Friday. Yes.
right after Halloween.
Love it. Adriana's already signed up. Exciting.
Awesome.
So those of you who are, you could have a pendulum by now. If you go to a crystal shop, you'll find a pendulum and you'll have one, or you can even order one online and you might have one in time. So Yeah, definitely attend that. And for those of you who have never used a pendulum before, taking a little class like that is really recommended. So that way you can know what you're doing before you get too deep into it. It's always good to know what you're doing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for everything that you've been doing for our star community. I just wanted to say that we're so grateful for everything that you do because your workshops are really exciting, and I'm kicking myself for missing the other one that you just had. So I'll have to check that one out today. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not long. I mean, it's but it's exciting. And I just get excited about everything I do. I just like the my enthusiasm. I'm like, okay, calm down a little bit. And so I go, oh,
You got to follow your highest passion, as they say. That excitement is a sign you're in the right place.
yeah, definitely,
I
definitely.
love it. Well, thank you so much for everybody for joining us today. And make sure that you follow. I'm going to share the link one more time. Make sure that you give Lori a follow. And yeah, we'll see you on Friday for your pendulum talk. That'll be good fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's
Love you
great to
guys.
talk to everybody.
See you guys soon. Bye.